I went to go put some lipstick on. This pregnancy is doing weird things to my skin. I guess that's normal, so I'm gonna go with it. Yeah, whatever. Anyway, today's podcast is about anxiety and letting go. Letting go of all sorts of things. Kind of letting go of people. So I'm gonna continue with my vlog of what is happening with everything. So I recently shared that I'm pregnant and I'm pregnant, I'm older, I'm single. I decided that, so yesterday I had a doctor's appointment for my 2-hour glucose test for the baby. And, everything probably went fine. I don't know. But anyway, the father of my daughter came to the test, which was great. But his support has just been whenever. It's been very inconsistent. Even though he'll tell me he wants to be supportive, he wants to be this, he wants to be that, he's there, but he's not. And it's just that, I know that when it comes to all this, like, we both have played parts. I've played parts as well. But we had some conflict at the beginning of our relationship, and I may have mentioned this before, but to me that was very normal because we were getting to know each other. You just have little, arguments about things. It's just like a part of life to me. To me, it's a part of life. To him, it was too much. He didn't want to deal with it. Which is fine. I mean, you can, do what you want to do. But, I feel like when you're having a baby or you're in a relationship, you say something like, you say, like, you need to make sure that the other person knows, like, understands. He's like, I told you I couldn't deal with this. And I was like, no. You said you didn't want to have issues, which you put on me. Anyway, you know what? I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to go back and forth. I'm not going to do any of that. Basically, I was okay with the conflict because I knew it was normal. He, on the other hand, was not okay with it. He had a whole bunch of conflict in his life, so that makes sense. Plus, being gone for so long, he could not regulate his feelings so much. Welcome to the Fear Fighter podcast. Please click the link, subscribe at the bottom, share, all of that. This is a mixture right now of vlog and talking about anxiety and different things that women are going through, and me just being open about my story in order to help others who may have a similar story or anything. So today I'm talking about anxiety and letting go. Letting go of all sorts of things. Letting go of people, letting go of yourself, just letting go in general. Because, it's hard, right? And as I try to get closer to God, I feel like I'm in this battle working on my faith. So I grew up in the church. I'm not a super Christian. I've been Christian, Baptist my whole life, but never super about it. I think people that grow up in the church, you kind of, you go one way or the other. You go super churchy, or you kind of fall off because you're kind of like, I was made to do that when I was younger, and now I just am glad that I'm free from having to sit in a 2-hour sermon bored out of my life while a pastor repeats himself 5 to 10 times on every topic. Man, I would just go to sleep in church all the time. But I was young then. I didn't really continue going after high school when I went to college and stuff. I went a couple of times, but I feel like just like hairstylists or therapists, you kind of have to find one that works for you, and I didn't put in the effort to do that. So as I go on to this more personal journey now, I want to, I think to myself, like we all think to ourselves, when we let go of things, gotta replace it with something better. The only thing is the timing is what the timing is. We can pray for something, we can want something, but that's not really up to us. It's up to the universe, God, fate, manifest destiny. I don't know, whatever you want to call it. It'll come when it comes, right? So I'm going to go on with my story. So yesterday I had a doctor's appointment for my glucose test, to check for the perinatal diabetes that I don't think I have. But anyway, it's still part of the process. Gotta do it. I drank the lemon lime flavor, which was pretty good. I was expecting it to be really bad, but it was actually pretty good. So I recommend lemon lime glucose, flavored glucose. Yesterday to my appointment, my baby's father attended, which was nice. I hope that he attends as many appointments as he can, since, the baby's inside of me, so that's really the only support that he is able to give me right now. And mostly because I am distancing myself from him, because he's been super inconsistent, and it's been very hard on me, and I've been very emotional. And now that my emotions have started to calm down, I just need to be away, so I can keep them going, because I need to, at the end of the day, think about the baby and my daughter that I have now. So, yesterday the OB was asking me how I felt and everything, and I was like, depressed, which I did have a lot of depression when I started this pregnancy. Sometimes I feel certain ways now, and I don't know what it is. Like, I don't know if it's me being just depressed, or if I'm just in a bad time, or if it's the hormones. So, obviously, I can't tell right now. So, and that's one of the reasons why I've distanced myself from him, because I have been very hormonal and emotional through this pregnancy, and he's had a hard time dealing with that. And I get it. Like, that has to be hard for any man. Especially when we really didn't know each other very well, and we were learning each other. So it was like we were learning each other. I was hormonal and depressed, and we were having small arguments. So that just made everything super hard. But the reason why I had to distance myself is because it was hard for both of us, but he decided he was gonna just distance himself first, physically distance himself. But my first trimester was pretty hard. Like, I was super nauseous. I was barely eating. I was super hormonal, and he just was not there. He would text back like 5 hours later. He would come and go as he pleased. We didn't really go anywhere too often. It wasn't an ideal experience for someone who is pregnant to go through with a man, especially a man who wants to have a baby. So I was super emotional for a long time, like months. Like, I'm at my 6th month now. Probably for the first 5.5 months of this pregnancy, I was super emotional, crying all the time, dealing with a lot, loss of energy, having a 2-year-old, but she's 3 now. She turned 3 2 months ago. It's just been a lot. I mean, I have had support from people, but there's nothing like having support from the father of the child. So, I was not perfect by any means at the beginning. There were some things about him that I didn't particularly care for, and because of that, I wasn't the nicest person all the time. And I told him about that. So we both played our role, but at the end of the day, I didn't distance myself from the situation. He decided to, and that's his choice. So now I'm distancing myself as well, which sounds, I think, probably unhealthy, but it's actually more healthy for me because I feel more emotionally regulated by being away, which is good. So yesterday he sent me a message. He said, "Are you all right?" And I was like, "I'm fine." And then I was like, "Wait a minute, I'm not fine." So then I was like, this pregnancy has been really hard for me this whole time. And he's like, "I just want to check on you, make sure you're okay." And I'm like, "No, I'm not okay. I'm not okay. I haven't been okay this whole time, and we've talked about it many times how I'm not okay." And he's like, I really care about you. I wish I could make it better. I'm like, you don't care. If you cared, you would be there, be around. He's like, I do. I'm like, you know what? Basically, enjoy your day and just leave me alone. Because at this point, I have to focus on what's good for me. And what's good for me is just being alone. So letting go of that, especially being that I'm 41, turning 42 like next week, and I didn't really want to be single. I mean, I haven't wanted to be single probably for forever. I mean, in my 20s, I wanted to be single, and I was. But I wanted to get married, but I haven't just been super intentional about it. So, maybe there's someone out there for me. Maybe there's not. I'm not sure. But I have to let go of what is not serving me now. And it's super hard. And for anyone who's trying to let go of anything, it's really digging deep into yourself, and focusing on yourself and letting go of your insecurities and balancing out your ego. And it's not really about the other person, right? At the end of the day, because people tend to have hard times letting go. You as a person will have hard time letting go of things. Whereas other people may just let go of everything. And I think either extreme is probably not the best. But I say give yourself 2 weeks. To me, 2 weeks is such a magical number when it comes to getting over things, thinking about things, letting go. I think it's wonderful. And a lot of times we get super comfortable in all sorts of parts in life, and we need to get ourselves uncomfortable. So right now, I'm getting myself uncomfortable because it's better for me. It's better emotionally and everything else. Physically, I mean, I'm not crying. I'm able to get stuff done. So even though I don't really want to let go, it's the best thing to do at the moment. Another reason why I had to distance myself from him is because the other day, what's today? Tuesday, I think. We were texting for a little bit, and I was like, I'm unhappy. And he's like, I know you are. I wish it wasn't like that. And then he didn't contact me for the rest of the day. Like, this was like 8:30 in the morning. And then I didn't hear from him again until almost 11 p.m. And he said he's almost home. And I mean, you know, to me, if someone that you care about tells you that they're unhappy, you may give them a little bit more than that. So there's not much I can do with that. And like I said, it's really hard to know why I'm unhappy. I don't know if it's hormonal, or I don't know if it's just me. I've been going through like a 2-year transition, and it's just been a lot. So that's why I'm sharing my story, because it's been a lot. And I've been thinking a lot about like my friendships and stuff, because people that I thought I would have been friends with for a long time, I'm not. And that is really weird to me, because it's like people who I really cared about, like that I really wanted a friendship with, and they just had other things to do, and it's just crazy. I mean, I know this happens all the time, and it's actually very normal, but to think about it, you know, to even think about the little things that have happened to bring me to this point in life, such as meeting the father of my child. Like, last year, I was hanging out with a male friend, and we went to an event, and I met him there. And then me and this male friend were hanging out, like good friends, close, a lot. And then he, for a few months, had a girlfriend, and when he had a girlfriend, we weren't as close. So I wasn't like really hanging out with men or whatever. And so that is how I ended up talking to this guy again, was because my male friend had a girlfriend, and I was just one day, I was just like, I just want to hang out with a guy and just hang out. I need some male energy. I can't be around feminine energy all the time. I need some masculine energy in my life. And yeah, now we're here. And it's weird, because you ask life why, and who knows? It just was supposed to happen, I guess. We went to like a retreat thing months ago in February, and the lady did Reiki on us, and she was talking to me, and she's like, this baby chose you to be her mom. And I mean, that, of course, that's something that sticks with you, because you're like, whoa. But you know, she could say that to every mother that she sees. I have no idea. But when I think about all the times I've had to let go, especially when it came to like a man in my life or something important in my life, I mainly had to dig deep into myself. And that's really, you know, what letting go is. Letting go is doing what's right for you. You know, by feeling something and knowing this is not serving me. Why is this not serving me? What am I feeling on the inside that is telling me that this is not where I want to be? Or the little intuition, the little voice in our ear that's like, no, this isn't right for you. Coming up, a relationship anxiety webinar. Please register at the link in the description. Also, you can't expect that people are gonna care for you how you care for them. Sometimes people get caught up on the fact that they apologize to someone, or they want to be heard by someone, and that other person doesn't accept their apology, or doesn't want to hear them back, or doesn't want to talk to them, or just doesn't want to make it right. And we definitely have to let that go. Because that's okay. I mean, people aren't going to do what we want them to do at all times. And we have to be okay with that. Especially if you embark on a journey of healing, and you want to heal with another person and they're not open to that. That's okay. We need to be okay, and we need to let that go. Like I feel like that happens a lot when people, I don't know why this example came to my mind. People want to find like their birth parents. They tend to want to sometimes when people want to find their birth parents, they don't know what they're getting into, right? So they seek someone out, and either that person is gonna want to be in their life or it's not gonna want to be in their life. And they have to be okay with either choice, because that's just what it is, right? And you have to let go if that parent does not want to be a part of your life, or at the capacity that you want them to be. And that goes the same for love interests. If someone doesn't want to care for you the way you want them to care for you, or love you the way that you want them to love you, then you have to choose to let them go. Because no matter what, no matter how much you stay or how wonderful you are, you can't change them, right? You could be the best girlfriend, boyfriend, whatever friend ever, and they're going to leave if they want to leave. And, you know, you have to just be okay and move on, and, you know, say, hey, I have me to take care of. I have me that makes me happy. I love me. And if they don't love me the same, then I gotta let it go. So I was also having a conversation with my first daughter's father, and we were talking about our breakup, which was a couple years ago now. And he's like, what you did was so messed up, and it was just so, it was fucked up. And at this point, you know, even though I left because there were years of me just taking care of so much in our life and being so stressed and feeling super alone, even though I was in that relationship. What is this? Oh, lint. Being super alone because I was in that relationship. When I left, you know, there was a short period of him finding out that I was seeing someone, not someone seriously, just hanging out with someone. And, you know, he was really hurt by that. But, you know, if you break up with someone, like, you kind of, before you leave, you've already broken up with them in your mind. So even though this was months later that I met this person and started hanging out with them, and there wasn't anything serious going on, he still feels like what I did was really messed up. You know, it's kind of like, man, all those years I was suffering and that you could have fixed and that you knew I was suffering didn't matter. It just mattered what I did at the end, after we had been broken up for months already. You know, and he's all like, he's telling me about his friends and how they feel like that matters to me, or that's even a part of this conversation. Like, who cares? Your friends don't know anything about how I felt or what was happening or whatever. And the reason why he even found out is because he was looking through my phone. So if you look through someone's phone, you have to be able to deal with what you find, right? Or you gotta let go. And he didn't let go. And he's like, you want to be a life coach to people, but you didn't do something right in your life. And like, first of all, I'm not a life coach. I'm an anxiety coach. It's different. And everyone makes mistakes. And that's how you're able to talk to people, is because the fact of having experience. If I never experienced anything, if I never did anything good or bad, how can I talk to people about, especially about anxiety? Because anxiety is all about things that, you know, your reaction to random things that happen or whatever. But, you know, he didn't think about the fact that when I left, my anxiety almost disappeared, like almost totally. I had so much anxiety in that relationship, I had to let it go. And it basically, I don't know, I could say saved my life. It made everything better. It made all the difference. You know, now that I'm way past that, yeah, we can have a conversation about the thing that happened that I did that hurt you. You know, and I can apologize. I can apologize for the fact that I did not think about your feelings when I moved on. I didn't. You know, I had totally let go. You know, I had to tell him, you know, I was completely gone from this relationship at that time. But I mean, me and him have a close relationship. I didn't want to hurt him like that. That was never my intention. And since I do care about him, I felt like, hey, I can say that was my bad. I apologize. I should have dealt with it differently. And I should have. I should have communicated better. All sorts of things. Because we do have the baby, the toddler together. And we were still very much in each other's lives. But I feel like you weren't supposed to know what my life was doing without you. You searched for that. So it's kind of like, I mean, I didn't say this, but it's kind of like, well, what are your expectations here? Like, he's like, and yeah, when I asked you about it, you lied. And I'm like, yeah, I lied. Because first of all, I didn't know how he was going to be with our daughter's relationship. I didn't want to hurt that. You know, I didn't know if he would distance himself or he would stay around or what. Luckily, he didn't do any of that. He didn't do anything crazy or bad. He took it very well. But I'm like, yeah, I mean, it's not like I was in a relationship. I wasn't, you know, looking for a new partner or anything like that. So yeah, I didn't think it was any of your business. I don't have a reason to tell you what I'm doing when I'm single and we're not together and we've been broken up for months. It's none of your business, you know? So yeah, so what can you do? But sometimes we have to let go to move forward. Like I asked him, like, if we were to have stayed together, what would our life have been? Like at that point, he was working a government job, barely making any money, could barely afford anything. Like I was holding the brunt of everything. And he was sitting on the couch, going out, partying, drinking. And one day he was sitting on the couch watching a movie with his lights on the wall and he was having a drink and laughing. I was like, you know what? I can't do this anymore. I don't want to be with you. I cannot do this anymore. And it was such a good decision for me. Because to have continued with that, I mean, maybe, like now I hear a lot of things about couples that worked out because they stayed with each other. But it had already been 5 years. So I don't know, maybe he would have changed. But he would have had to choose to change on his own. Like no matter how much unhappy I was, he had to change on his own. Which he did. But in the last couple years that we've been apart, I think he's changed a bunch. I'm not sure, but he did go out there. He found a better job. He got more financially secure. He did all that because he didn't have me to fall back on. He was too comfortable. So yeah, maybe he would have changed and maybe I left too soon. But the anxiety was telling me, you gotta go, you can't do this. You know, my dog is just staring at me talk. We would have been arguing in front of our daughter. Like now, I mean, she's heard us argue before, but far and few in between, like once every couple of months or something like that. It wouldn't have been the daily struggle that we would have had if we would have stayed together. This child is healthy and happy, and she sees us both 50-50, like equally split. And it works, and it's great. And I think, and it's so funny because I think because that has been so great, that I've been able to think the same way about this next co-parenting situation that's gonna happen. I mean, maybe it won't be like that, who knows? But I don't feel negatively about it. Like, I'm at a point where I can afford the kids. I'm mentally stable. I'm stable in a lot of ways. And a lot of reasons why I am is because I've let go of things. Such as friends leaving, such as a man not treating me how I deserve to be treated. All sorts of different reasons, but letting go has been an amazing part of life. You know, I wish that instead of having to let a partner go, I could let a piece of myself go that was not the best for my relationship. That's really, to me, where it would have went if, you know, he didn't choose to distance himself. And the reason why he said this to me, he said that he distanced himself because he didn't want to be around conflict, even though there's two sides, you know. Conflict goes both ways. You know, it's not like I was arguing with myself or anything like that. So, you know, I think he kind of blamed me. He was looking for me to be a comfort space for him, and I couldn't be because he wasn't a stable, comforting space for me. And I'm pregnant, so, you know, I don't even know why I'm feeling this way half the time. So the fact that I think a man can think a pregnant woman is going to be more stable than him at any point in time of that pregnancy is crazy, because I was crying every other minute. Like, I didn't even know what was going on half the time. I was feeling crazy. I was nauseous. I couldn't eat. I could eat. I would eat something. I would feel disgusted by it. And, you know, he decided to walk away instead of work it out with me. And then he decided to, you know, talk to women in inappropriate ways and, you know, things like that. He just totally, like, left. Well, he didn't leave. He stayed around, but, like, half-assed, which is probably worse. Like, just leave. If you're on the kind of leave, just leave. So I didn't really see him leaving, but he still has been half-assed. Like, he's like, oh my God, everything has happened. I'm gonna support you. I'm sorry I haven't been there. Man, you're not here. He'll be here for one day, and then that's it. One day every so often, talking about, I'm gonna be there for you. Just be there for you, baby. I gotta let this go because you're not gonna do it on your own. And it's fine. Well, it's not fine. I'm gonna stop saying that. It's not fine. It's not an ideal situation. It's been it's been a life-changing situation for me, but I have learned a lot. I wouldn't even be so open with my life if these things weren't happening. If it wasn't like, I'm bringing a child into this world at 41 years old by myself. Well, not by myself, I'm assuming. I mean, I'll have support and everything like that, but it's a very eye-opening place to be. So yeah, it's kind of exciting. It's kind of pushing me out of my comfort zone, because I am out of my comfort zone. And, you know, you can't move forward without letting go of things from the past. Or even things, well, the present is forever changing, so you can't say things from the present. But if I want my present to be a certain way, which is where we need to live in the present, be mindful, that is how you live anxiety free. And that is one of the reasons why I don't suffer from anxiety like I did before. It's because I live in the present. I don't worry about the future so much. I'm every day I'm letting go with something from my past, and I'm living right here, right now. And it's easier said than done. It took a long time for me to get to this place. But as anxiety coach, that's how I want to help women get to this place of being in the present, feeling all the feels, being okay with yourself, being okay with it. Relationships are difficult. We have so many relationships in our lives. We're forever judging ourselves. We're judging other people. That's another thing that we have to let go of, is sometimes we live in other people's life. Like, I had a patient who was so worried about the other people at his job that he wasn't focusing on himself. He was so focused on how they were interacting with their customers and how they were getting paid compared to him, how they were doing their job. But they were in a different job than him, different job role. So, I'm assuming most different job roles have different ways of getting paid, but they were on a sales commission type role. So who knows? Anyway, he was so focused on that he couldn't focus on what he needed to do as much, or he was so unhappy, and just thinking about them all the time. He was telling me all about them, and I was like, why are you so focused on their lives? Like, why are you so focused on what they're doing? You have to let that go. We have to think about what we're going through and where we want to be in life. Last night, I went to such an eye-opening event with all these beautiful Black women who were successful and inspirational. And it was just such a beautiful space. And to be there, I felt so blessed. And most of them did not have rings on their fingers, which was kind of, I do want to get married. I would love to find a person. But if I don't find a person, then that's okay too. I am enough, right? We are enough. Thank you so much for being here, for listening to my podcast. Please subscribe. Please share with anyone, any woman who's going through anything, just stuff. I'm just tackling different things daily.